take a look at this. No, actually, hang on. Let me. Right, yeah. Take a look at that now, please. That is the front screen of my iPhone. And actually, let's swipe around a bit. This is every screen of my iPhone. I keep 2 screens worth full of apps that I use all the time, and then iOS 15 added this handy app library at the end. So 2 screens worth and the app library. But look again, please, look again. This is the front screen of my iPhone, and now if we swipe around, it's the only screen on my iPhone. This screen and the app library, that's all. It's the same phone. Those apps, well, they're the same ones that I use, but they're the ones I use particularly when I'm writing for it. And you can't see this yet, I'll show you later. When I've got it set like this, to only show me those apps and nothing else, I've also got the phone blocking all calls, all emails, all messages, everything. With actually 1 or 2 taps, I shut out the world and I can concentrate on my writing. And I can concentrate on that writing on my iPhone and on my iPad and on my Mac. Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which as always, is for writers like you and me who use and write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. Do subscribe because, you know, we have so much to talk about. And today, what I wanted to talk through is kind of like skipping to the end of focus modes. Focus mode is this new feature in 2021's iOS 15, iPadOS 15, macOS Monterey. I love saying macOS Monterey. And Apple Watch, WatchOS 8. It's across all of them. Previously, we had Do Not Disturb, which shut out everything. Now we have focus mode, which is like a Do Not Disturb plus. You can say with focus modes, for example, that you don't want the phone to ring. Hold my calls. You can say don't let phone calls through, but messages are fine. Emails are fine. Or more usefully, if I put your name into my favourites list, for example, and I turn on a focus mode, you could contact me. You, and if I choose you alone, can message me, email me, phone me, anything you like, and I'll get the message, the email, the call, the anything you like right away. When this first came out, I went a bit crazy with focus modes. One useful one, I set up one called Saturday. You'll never guess what day of the week I used to run that one, but what it did was it blocked everything. All notifications from all apps, all bleeps from everything. It only allowed phone calls through from people who are on my favourites list. That one's fine, still got that one. But I write a lot for appleinsider.com, and as it happens, that tends to be for quite specific times of the week, and so why not? I created an Apple Insider focus mode, and that shut out the world, including my favourites, but allowing through any message, any contact at all from the editor there, the publisher, writing colleagues on the site. And that was pretty great for a while. What it meant was that I no longer got what I usually get, the bleep of a new email every few minutes, or the ping of a notification from somebody about something every few seconds. It felt peaceful, especially, I think, because it was automatic. For a while, I said, go on then, at 10 a.m. on these days, just automatically turn on the Apple Insider focus mode for me. Without my then doing anything more, the world quietened down and it let me get on with things. Except, one day, I was actually writing about focus modes for Apple Insider. I was doing some feature that mentioned them, and I picked up my iPhone, turned off Apple Insider focus mode, and in that moment, the phone rang. It was BBC local radio offering me a sliver of work. If I hadn't picked up the phone right then, if I hadn't turned off focus mode right then, I wouldn't have even known I'd got the call, and of course they would have gone to somebody else. I mean, look, it was a small gig. Don't let me exaggerate it, but it's also a fun one. So don't let me under-exaggerate how disappointing it would have been to get pick up the voicemail 6 hours later or something. That day, right after that call, that minute, I turned off all focus modes, all of them, forever. But I so missed the peace. I said I wanted to skip to the end. I think the start is finding out about focus modes. The middle bit is overusing them. But then the end is using focus modes for their benefits and in ways that don't cause you problems. If that BBC radio call had come from a BBC radio people in my contacts book, or if they rang from one certain number that I could then add to contacts once I found out about it, I could have been fine to keep running focus modes probably. But calls like that, and they can come from anywhere, and I get a lot of calls about work from anywhere. So the way I handle this is, I don't run any focus modes during the day now, not ones that turn themselves on and stay on for hours automatically. What I do instead is I run specific focus modes when I'm doing specific things, and really it's boiled down to one specific thing, which is obviously writing. We're writers, aren't we? When I have to really concentrate on something I'm writing, I just accept, actually, that I'm going to potentially miss some important calls, and I turn on my writing focus mode. I do that whichever device I'm writing on. I turn on this writing focus mode. I'm turning it on there, turns it on across the Mac, the iPhone, the iPad, and the Apple Watch. And the benefit across all of these is that I don't get disturbed. You can get through, because remember, didn't I just add you to my favourites? And I have decided that my favourites list and one or two other people can call me anytime they need. Anyone else, everyone else, no. Until I turn off my writing focus mode. Until then, I get peace and quiet and time to concentrate, regardless of what device I'm writing on, what device I started writing on. But if I am writing on my iPhone, or actually more likely, I suppose, the iPad really, then I can also get this thing of being able to solely see and use the apps I've decided are for my writing, shut out everything else. And I like that a lot. I like it so much that I wish there were a way to have the same thing on the Mac. Let me show you how it's done. First, prepare your iPhone and iPad. Yeah, prepare. What you're really doing is you're just adding a new home screen, but it's a home screen that you only want to see when you're in a focus mode. Swipe to the app library for me. Find the first writing app you want to use. Now, I mean, it's an app, it's a writing app, it's on your phone. There's a pretty good chance it's already on your iPhone's home screen somewhere. But no, find it again in the app library and do this. Press and hold on the app icon, and this takes you back, to the jiggle mode. The home screen's everything jiggling. You've got the app under your finger, and normally you move it around and you just let go and everything moves out the way. That's actually what you're going to do now, with one exception. Before you let go of the app, you go to drag to the right. This is oddly fiddly actually sometimes, but keep pressing on the app, keep shoving it right, and then this happens. You reach the end of the home screen, the pages of home screens that you've already got, and your iPhone makes a new one. It makes a new blank, empty home screen. Well, yeah, empty apart from the dock at the bottom with the 3 or 4 apps in there, whatever you've got. Now, with that empty screen in front of you, let go of the app you've been dragging, and pop, it's down on the page, and you've got the start of your writing app homepage. Yeah, 2 things. First, and I think this is potentially riskily confusing, this is the same app that you already have on, say, your front screen. You haven't made a copy of it. It isn't a second installation of it. It's the same app in 2 places, which means if you later decide, oh, forget this is not worth it at all, and you delete this writing screen, you get rid of it from this screen, you're actually deleting it from everywhere. So what you have to do if you do change your mind about having it is you press and hold on the app, like usual, you choose remove app, but then remove from home screen. Second thing, less important, that dragging around, I don't know why I find it so fiddly, but it's only a bit fiddly until you have that first new blank home screen. After that, it's just tedious, really, because you've got to go back into the app library over and over again. Find each writing app you want to use one at a time, drag them to the new screen one at a time, and when they're there you can rearrange them. And I also added some widgets for no very good reason. Press and hold anywhere on the home screen that isn't an app, then tap the plus sign when it appears, and if you want to, choose some widgets. So I went for one at the top there that's Drafts 5. I put it at the top so that I can quickly start to write down an idea when it pops into my head. And this other one down in the corner is OmniFocus, my to-do app, which here is set to show me only to-do tasks that are explicitly to do about writing projects. Well, that's the idea anyway. In practice for me right now as I record this, well, I'm using a beta version, a test version of the next OmniFocus, and somewhere along the line that widget doesn't always work. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Overall, I'm relieved when I've schlepped through setting up a home screen full of writing apps and widgets. I just kind of slump a tiny bit at the realization you have to do it all over again with your iPad. You can't copy a home screen over to another device. And of course, if you happen to be a person who has more than one iPad, yeah, one at a time. But now, your special Writing Apps Only home screen is ready. On any home screen you've got, press and hold anywhere you like that isn't an app or isn't a control. Basically, press and hold on any empty area. When they all start jiggling, there's a row of dots at the bottom. Tap on that row of dots, and here are all of your iPhone or iPad home screens, and each one has a tick box underneath it. Find the Writing app home screen you just created and tap to turn it off. If you don't see a tick icon at all, by the way, or if you only see the home screen you just created and you know there are others, you are already in a focus mode, and hopefully you know how you got in there so you can get out and get back to this thing and then turn off all the others. Bring up this view of your home screens, right? Find the Writing Apps one, tick to make sure it is turned off, tap Done. Now tap Done again to come out of this app jiggle mode. And now you can swipe around as much as you like. You are never going to see that new home screen that you just spent ages setting up. Kiss it goodbye, it's gone forever. Or at least it is until you've done the next bit, which is setting up focus mode. Just quickly, on a Mac, you set up focus modes by going into System Preferences and choosing Notifications and Focus. And you can also get to exactly the same place, slightly longer way around, through the Control Center menu in the menu. Well, once you're there, whichever route you've gone through, you're in Notifications and Focus, and it works pretty much the same as it does on the iPhone and the iPad. I want to show it to you on the iPhone and the iPad because those are the ones that can do this home screen shuffle kind of thing. The home screen shuffle, like that. So, on your iPhone, let's say, go to Settings, Focus. If you haven't piddled about in this before, all you're going to see in there is Personal Setup and Work Setup. Please ignore them both. Okay. If you have gone in there before, there can be a problem. I mean, this is pretty niche, it's pretty rare, but it confused me. So let me see. Apple has officially decided that you can have up to 10 of these focus modes, but maybe they were working towards that. Maybe in the beta they didn't. I don't know. I had 12. And because 12 is more than 10, would you look at the quality of information I'm giving you? Apple wouldn't let me add another one, okay, but it also wouldn't show me the plus sign, and I came in to show you the plus sign, and it wasn't there. I had to delete some of my, frankly, worthless focus modes I'd already rejected. But I deleted them down. I got down to 9, and as soon as it on 9, bing, there it was. There was the plus sign that I came in here to tell you about. Please, make it worth my while. Tap the plus sign. Now, from here, Apple actually wants to make focus modes easy to use, and I don't think they are, really. Not at first, not with all of the choices you get, but still, here we are. Apple tries to guide you through those choices with these options, but I want you to ignore all of them. Instead, tap the top one, Custom. From here, you give your focus mode a name so that you can find it later. You can give it different icons and colors. You can set things up. Actually, let me come out of this new one and go into the writing focus mode I made earlier, and I'll show you these things you can set. Notice right at the top, there's a very big on-off switch. Under that, you've got people and apps. And in this example here, my example here, the one I use, seemingly none allowed is written underneath both of them. And officially, that means no one, not even you, can phone me, message me, email me, or anything. Well, yeah, I mean, you can, can't you? You can. I don't hear about it until I turn off focus mode and look at the phone and see all the missed calls. But there's more to this, and it's confusing. Tap on people for me. Here, okay, the obvious bit is you could tap on the plus sign and add specific people from your contacts book. But there's also this thing here, this handy also allow section. And by default, that's turned on. It's turned on to favorites. So even though on the first page it says this focus mode allows no calls, it does. It allows any calls from anyone in your favorites list. You can tap on that to change it if you want. I tend to leave it though, actually, because I'm pretty careful at keeping my favourites list to just a few current people I'm working with, family and friends, and just a few. But otherwise, you could also set it so that you could say you'll take calls from anyone, which actually would have let BBC Radio through to me, but it would also have let all the spam calls I get through. Or you can choose just people in your contacts, people in groups in your contacts. All of this groups and favourite stuff, you set it up separately in your contacts app or in the phone app, actually, but then you get to select from all of that here. This last thing I want to point out and stress is important. By default, if someone you have not specifically allowed to call you does try phoning, they will not get through. But if they immediately hang up and then phone again, instantly, then they will. This is how you can ensure emergency calls from numbers you don't know can get through to you regardless. If it's not important, they call you back and they're through. But now, come back up out of all of that to the main focus mode screen, and you could be done. Actually, you could leave everything else. But to do this thing I showed you of changing of the home screens, tap home screen. Turn on custom pages. The first time you do it, by the way, I should say, you get you get a very now familiar view of all of your home screens with the ticks and the no ticks. This time, tick to turn off every screen except your writing one, and then tap the tick to make sure the writing one is on. Now tap done, and you're done. There's just this business of turning focus mode on or off to cover, turning it on and off when you want to. In that main focus mode settings page, there were more options to do with this, including saying that thing if you wanted to turn on by itself at 10 a.m. on a Friday or whatever. Or if you wanted to actually to turn on when you leave home, you can set that up in there too. Leave home, get to a place, turn on. There isn't a clear way to turn itself off after, say, 2 hours. You can say 10 a.m. to noon, please, but you can't turn it on manually whenever you feel like it and know that it will turn itself off 120 minutes later. Depending on how you start the focus mode, you do get an option sometimes to run it for just 1 hour or just until this evening. But there's no way to say, I've got 40 minutes now, or 2 hours or half an hour or anything like that. So what I decided was skip all of that. I positively choose to switch on my writing mode specifically when I need to concentrate. So it's also on me. I have to remember to switch it off when I'm done, or I will have an extremely peaceful day. There are very many ways to turn on or off focus mode, including all the automatic stuff. Right at the start, I actually saw me do one of them from my Apple Watch, and that's really quick. Just reach down. Did you even notice? Flicked. On the Mac, you can go through Control Center menu. On the iPhone or iPad, you can swipe down to Control Center again, tap on the focus button, choose focus mode, pick the one you want. And I don't do any of that, really, except the Apple Watch sometimes, because instead I use a shortcut. Here is the shortcut on the Mac, and it's a very short one. Run this shortcut on the Mac, on the iPhone, on the iPad, and it turns on my writing focus mode. And I don't think you'll be startled to know I have an almost identical one that it just turns off writing focus mode. Nearly identical, just totally the opposite, yeah. And then there are lots of ways to use focus mode, but there are lots of ways to run shortcuts, including on the Mac. You could, if you wanted, make a keystroke, so you just press a couple of buttons and you're in. The trouble with that for me today, somehow, I don't know why, it's like it's yet another combination of keys to remember, and maybe I've reached the limit in my head of those. So instead, sorry, this is getting really specific, isn't it? On the Mac, since I already replaced Spotlight with Alfred, I'll put a link in the bottom to an episode about 58 keys why I did that. I downloaded a free Alfred Workflow from packle.org. It's like Jackal, but with a P, called macOS Shortcuts for Alfred. And with that installed, I pressed Command Space to call up Alfred. I type the letters S and C for shortcut, hit space, and then start writing the name of the shortcut I want. Now there's a limit, it only lets me choose from the first 10 or so shortcuts that I've got. So you get your shortcuts up and you rearrange things, put them at the top. But SC writing mode on turns on this focus mode of mine. And SC writing mode off, well, turns it off, doesn't it? Better than this, I only have to type SC writing, and there you go, I get a menu showing me the two options. So it's quick. On the iPhone and the iPad, I use another shortcut. So I already have one on there called Open Logs, which gives me one-tap fast access to lots of numbers spreadsheets I need in my business, and I just added a line. added one line for turning on focus mode and another one for turning it off. Tap on either of those and that shortcut just pops off, and actually it runs one of the shortcuts you saw earlier, the ones for turning focus mode on or off. It's not like this is a quick thing to set up, is it? But once I'd done it, once I'd gone through all this and set it up, I now have one or two taps to enter my writing focus mode and get on, concentrate on my writing, and then equally one or two taps to snap out of it and get on with everything else. So yeah, setting it up isn't fast, but using it is. And we're writers, you know, we know what we're like. If it's fast to do, we're more likely to do it, really. I have some work on right now that really requires me to concentrate for a couple of hours at a time. I mean, and usually to the exclusion of everything else in my writing business. And this is helping me do it. Actually, you are too. You're kind of the treat. I look forward to our talking, and it's become, yes, you and I can have a natter over 58 keys when I've done the writing work. No, hang on, sorry. That's like you can't have any dessert till you clean off your plate kind of thing. That's not how I see this. Anyway, thanks for watching this edition of 58 Keys. If you've got, or if you find any way of using focus modes that helps you with your writing, I'd be really grateful if you put it in the comments thing below so that I can, well, steal it from you. I can't honestly think of a nicer way of saying it. Yeah, I want to steal from you. Help me out here. In the meantime, take care of yourself, Write more, and I'll see you soon. When I've got it set like this to only show those writing apps and no other home screens at all, I've also got the phone blocking all calls, all emails, all messages, all everything, and apparently not enough.